In 2014, Dr. Roberta McKay and Mr. Elmer Brenner gifted a world-class grand piano to the University of Regina's Conservatory of Performing Arts. It had been crafted by pianist and engineer Paolo Fazioli. McKay and Brenner actually traveled to the Fazioli workshop in northern Italy to select the instrument with the help of pianist Angela Hewitt.
First of all, Mr. Fazioli is a pianist. He's trained as an engineer, and his family built fine furniture. So he got a group of people together who had all the skills they needed, and he said, I'm going to build the best piano in the world. And he started off in the old factory, and he has a beautiful new place with a 250-seat concert hall, all the bells and whistles, basically. He did build a world-class piano. This factory is in the town of Fazioli.
Okay.
It's a little tiny town, about 70 kilometers north of Venice. So we went there, and Mr. Fazioli was treated as like royalty. He sent a driver with a car to pick us up at the airport and take us to Fazioli. We went and we had a tour of the factory, and we saw every part of how these pianos are made. It's just unbelievable, the hours of work that go into making one piano. And then when they have the piano made, they number it. So ours is 1974. And that's how many they'd made up to that point. And
right.
I think he'd been in business about 30 years by then.
We do have photos that we took while we were in the factory, so you can see what the building process was like, and you know, different things about it that were just phenomenal. Like when the piano's built, when it's put together and the strings are in place and everything's in place, they move it into a little room, and the little room has an automatic hammer system. So it sits there and it goes boom, 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 for I forget how many hours, 12 hours. Yeah. It's such an experience. And as Roberta said, they treated us like royalty. I mean, got to have dinner with Angela Hewitt and with Mr. Fazioli.
My second piano sonata was written for Angela Hewitt back in 2000, and she premiered it in Saskatoon at that time. And I had known her through concerts, her visiting concerts here in the province before, and I knew she was a Fazioli enthusiast. And actually, one of the places where she has a home in Italy is not far from the Fazioli factory, and she knew Mr. Fazioli, of course, personally, and had her own piano, and so she was of course very enthusiastic about Fazioli's, and so I thought. And she had also played at Dark Hall. And so I emailed her and asked her if she might think that a Fazioli would be a suitable instrument for Dark Hall, and if she would have sometime, to choose an instrument for us, basically. So the Fazioli, what I love about it is the clarity of sound.
What does it feel like? What is the touch?
Oh, I feel like I've had a glass of wine after playing that Fazioli.
Really?
You know how you're kind of elevated, you have a glass of wine, you're just enough to kind of, you feel like you're floating a bit, not quite walking on the ground.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to play the Fazioli. I've also thought it feels buttery. I don't know. It's not a word I've ever used with any other piano that I can think of, but the way you can produce legato on the instrument, the connecting the sounds is the way the notes melt into each other. You have to find a new vocabulary to talk about music when you're talking about the Fazioli.
The University of Regina is now home to one of the finest concert instruments in the world. That is a Fazioli grand piano unveiled today at Dark Hall, where David McIntyre wowed the crowd. The instrument is a donation from Dr. Roberta McKay and her husband Elmer Brenner. Each Fazioli takes 3,000 hours to build. The wooden soundboard is cut from the same trees in northern Italy as Stradivari violins. The piano itself costs $180,000, but the total gift of $250,000 includes construction of a piano garage. Dr. McKay has a long history with Dark Hall.
My piano teacher had her studio in the Dark Hall, and we played our recitals every spring on the stage at the Dark Hall. So I'm very interested also in refurbishing this building so that it can become a cultural hub for Regina again.
The couple had previously given $250,000 towards the restoration of the College Avenue campus.
So when it came time to play, and David asked who would like to go first, my hand shot into the air like a firework. Moments later, I took my seat with Fazioli. The sound that emerged from the open piano lid in that one instant was heavenly, richer and fuller and brighter than anything I'd heard before. It sang, enveloping me in warmth. The air sparkled, alive. I imagined this is what magic might sound like. "Whoa!" I exclaimed, my voice cracking as I yanked my hands away from the keys in shock. One single note was all I needed to understand. My hands flowed over the keys, drifting from E major to C sharp minor and back again, sinking deep into chords and floating through arpeggios. The notes, effortlessly emerging from the piano's spruce soundboard, circled up to the ceiling and filled the entire theater to the brim. All I saw were the shadows of my hands flitting across the black and white keys. Save for the brief moments I closed my eyes and saw everything. In my own little world, nothing else existed but myself, Fazioli, and the walls of Dark Hall. The notes in the higher register were the most impressive. Clear and strong, they rang out as my fingers danced in little circles, flirting with the dotted rhythms. But the richness and the fullness of the lower tones was breathtaking too. The notes came alive and embraced me, transporting me to another plane. Any remaining tension in my body melted through my fingertips and was absorbed by the keys. It was bliss, the most alive I'd felt in weeks, and I was free to explore this innocent, magical feeling through the music. Is this how it felt to truly be one with the music and with myself? To have realized a potential existed that wasn't there before, and to be able to embrace it in its full authenticity? To touch something sublime. I wondered if without the Fazioli, would I ever be able to play this well again? I smiled to myself, knowing that I would, because now I knew that I could. That was the gift of the Fazioli.